It started with the kind of tip police departments rarely get. A whispered phone call, a shaky voice, and 7 words that would upend everything. There's something buried in the backyard. In a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Fayetteville, North Carolina, the Winters family home stood like any other. A 2-story colonial with white shutters, a swing set in the yard, and a reputation for being the most normal house on the block. But what happened there, in the summer of 2011, would expose one of the most disturbing secrets the town had ever seen. When 29-year-old Grace Winters walked into the local sheriff's office, she didn't look like someone about to change the course of an investigation. Soft-spoken and trembling, she asked to speak privately with a detective. What she said stunned the entire department. Grace claimed that 10 years earlier, when she was just 19, she had witnessed her stepfather, Harold Hal Winters, bury a body in their backyard. Not just any body, she said. Her older sister, Melanie. Melanie Winters had been reported missing in 2001 at the age of 17. According to her parents, she had run away after a fight. The case had gone cold within a year, and the Winters family had moved on, at least publicly. But now, Grace was saying that her sister never left the house alive. The police had their doubts. The Winters were a well-known family. Hal, a respected former Marine. Their mother, Carol, a local school teacher. But Grace's account was disturbingly detailed. She remembered the day, April 14, 2001. She remembered the shouting, the sound of something heavy hitting the floor. And most of all, she remembered what Hal made her do next: help dig a hole. Armed with a search warrant and a forensic team, police arrived at the Winters' former home, now owned by an elderly couple who'd bought the property in 2006. It was a sunny October morning when the digging began, 12 feet from the back porch. Beneath layers of compacted soil and landscaping stones, investigators unearthed what appeared to be human remains, wrapped in layers of deteriorated plastic, bound with duct tape. Dental records confirmed what everyone feared. The remains belonged to Melanie Winters. Forensic examination estimated the time of death around the same month Grace had mentioned. Her skull showed signs of blunt force trauma. And yet, something didn't add up. Hal Winters was arrested that evening and charged with first-degree murder. But as the investigation deepened, so did the mystery. Grace told police she had repressed the memory for years. The trauma had kept it buried until a nightmare triggered something in her mind. But when investigators reviewed therapy records, they found no mention of repressed memories, no signs she had ever struggled with post-traumatic stress related to her sister. In fact, Grace had never spoken about Melanie after 2002. Then there was the autopsy report. Melanie's cause of death was blunt force trauma. Yes, but the angle of the injury didn't match the story Grace told. She had claimed Hal hit Melanie in the kitchen with a cast-iron skillet. But the medical examiner believed the injury came from a long, narrow object, more consistent with a metal pipe or crowbar. Even more confusing, DNA under Melanie's fingernails didn't match Hal. It matched Grace. As pressure mounted, Grace's story started to unravel. 2 weeks before her confession, she'd been fired from her job at a local law office. She was under investigation for forging a client's signature on a check. Financial records showed she was nearly $30,000 in debt. And her first call after giving her statement to police was to a true crime podcast producer, asking if they'd be interested in her exclusive story. Hal's attorney wasted no time painting Grace as a manipulative liar, hungry for attention and desperate for money. In court, she came apart. Her timeline shifted, her details blurred. She cried on the stand, but the jury didn't buy it. The defense argued there was no motive for Hal to kill his stepdaughter. But Grace? Jealousy, resentment, and a history of violent outbursts, including a sealed juvenile record, began to make her look less like a witness and more like a suspect. Then came the most chilling discovery: a journal found in a box of Grace's belongings, hidden in a storage unit. In it, she wrote fictionalized stories that eerily mirrored her real life. One entry, dated just a year before her confession, read, "She thinks she's the favorite. She smiles like she owns the place, but even roses rot underground. And when they dig, they'll think it was him." Hal's conviction was overturned on appeal due to prosecutorial misconduct, and he was released after serving just 18 months. But no one else has been charged with Melanie's murder. Grace moved out of state and refuses all interview requests. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened on April 14, 2001. The evidence points in two directions. One toward a father hiding a deadly secret, the other toward a sister consumed by something far darker. And then, in 2023, 12 years after the backyard dig, a construction crew unearthed another skeleton beneath an abandoned shed on a neighboring property. Female, late teens, time of death, early 2000s. But this time, the DNA didn't match Melanie Winters. It matched someone else.